The Honorable Judge, Keno Vasquez, State District Court, 398. All rise.
Good morning. Y'all may have a seat. Court's going to call CR 01-89-19I, Rogelio Pruneda Mejia.
Good morning, Your Honor. Catarina Alvarado with the Public Defender's Office on behalf of Mr. Mejia this morning. However, Judge, reviewing the file and talking with the state, Mr. Gonzalez from our office initially handled this case and asked me to cover for him this morning, but when I reviewed the documents, I believe I'm conflicted out of representing Mr. Mejia this morning. As the court's aware, I used to be a prosecutor and represent the state of Texas, and I prosecuted Mr. Mejia about 10 years ago.
So you're the prosecutor in the actual case itself, then?
I was, Judge. My name's on the judgment.
Okay. Ms. Quigg?
Judge, we have no objection to resetting it.
So what's his history like?
Judge, this defendant, in 1990, got a public intoxication. 1993, got his first DWI. In 1995, he got his second DWI. In 1999, he got his third DWI. In 2000, he got his fourth DWI. 2007, he got his fifth DWI and was sent to prison. And in 2013, he got his sixth DWI, and before he got his sixth DWI.
Mr. Mejia?
Judge, I believe this is his fifth. I know it's like one different, but
Yes, Judge, one of them
this is
was
fifth DWI.
dismissed as part of the
Mr. Mejia, you're the individual talking to the court last time wanting to know about possible probation or help. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mejia, you've had 5 DWIs. And you want the court to help you?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Because I think I need help, because alcohol and drugs have,
Get next to the microphone, I can't hear you.
that alcohol and drugs have ruined my life. I mean, I wish I could get help.
But it's now 2019, you have another DWI.
Yes, Your Honor.
I mean, how old are you?
50 years old, sir.
And what do you do for a living?
Well, my name's Rogelio Mejia, sir. I have had real good jobs. I had my own business, and that's what I wanted to tell the students here, that drugs and alcohol have ruined my life. I have lost everything. My parents, when I incarcerated, family members. I had good, high-paying jobs. Alcohol, drugs will not let me succeed, and it's not worth it. And I wish I could get some help.
Mr. Mejia, I mean, how I run my court, I am rehabilitative. I try to help. That's not a problem, but this is your 5th DWI.
Yes, Your Honor.
So we're gonna need to look into a little closer. Ms. Alvarado here, she was the lawyer who put you in jail initially.
Your Honor.
And now she's on the opposite side as a defense attorney.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Alvarado, do you want to say anything about that? That's kind of,
Judge, the case that I prosecuted the judgment was over 10 years ago. I don't remember the initial facts, obviously, but I know that Ms. Puig and I, we worked together actually in this courtroom in 398 in 2009. If it was a recommendation for the minimum at that time was 2 years, it was his first felony. We usually gave an option of a long probation period.
so he's graduated basically to jail time. Okay,
Correct.
what I'm gonna do, this case will be reset for Monday,
Judge.
and that way Mr. Gonzalez can take over the case.
Yes, Judge.
And that's what we'll do as to CR 018919I, Rogelio Pruneda Mejia.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
The court's gonna call CR 518218I and CR 132317I, State of Texas versus Daniel Perez Morado. True and correct name, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, do you speak, read, and write the English language?
Yes, sir.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir.
Sir, in case you're mistaken, a plea in these cases could affect your status in this country. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Sir, have you been declared mentally incompetent by a doctor?
No, sir.
Counsel speaking to your client, you're finding client mentally competent to stand trial?
I do, Your Honor.
Mr. Morado, have you seen a copy of the indictment in CR 518218I?
Yes, sir.
Sir, you are charged with a DWI third or more, a third-degree felony, and that carries a range of punishment of no less than 2 years, no more than 10, and a fine not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand that?
Correct.
Sir, on CR 132317I, you are, Ms. Puig, I don't have the actual judgment in this case. What is the charge?
Judge, he was placed on probation for driving while intoxicated, third-degree felony, in which he received 5 years of probation.
So, Mr. Morado, on CR 132317I, that's also a DWI. Range of punishment is a third-degree felony, no less than 2 years, no more than 10, and a fine not to exceed $10,000. Since you're put on straight probation, the maximum I can give you is 5 years TDC. Do you understand that?
Correct.
All right, sir. I'm going to show you documents which is called waiver of rights and sentence stipulation of evidence and/or testimony of plea of guilty or no contest. Have you seen these documents, sir?
Yes, sir.
Were they explained to you?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you page 2. That's your signature.
Yes, sir.
I'm also going to the plea admonishments, and I've already admonished you regarding your citizenship. You see this little gray area here?
Yes, sir.
That's your signature.
Yes, sir.
And that's telling me your counsel has instructed you that if you're not a U.S. citizen, you will and you shall be deported from this country. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
By signing these documents, sir, you have certain rights. You have a right to jury trial. On CR 132317I, you do not have a right to a jury trial. This is a motion to revoke. I get to say what happens to you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
On CR 518218I, you do have a right to a jury trial, which are 12 individuals who decide if you're guilty or not. You can have the jury decide or the court decide. Who would you prefer, sir?
The court.
In addition to this, sir, you have certain rights to cross-examine witnesses who will sit over here to my left. But you can waive that right and have the state of Texas prove their case through their exhibits and through your plea of guilty on CR 518218I and plea of true on CR 132317I. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
By signing these documents, you're waiving your right. Well, actually, no, you have an open plea, so you do have a right to appeal this case or file a motion for a new trial. Do you understand
Yes,
that?
sir.
You're also telling the court under 39.14 that you received all discovery, which is basically the evidence against you in these cases. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And you waive any future discovery in these particular cases. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Sir, in CR 518218I, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
He wishes to plead no contest, Your Honor.
Okay? The effect of a no contest plea is the same as a guilty plea. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
The same range of punishment. As to CR 132317I, in this particular case, true or not true as to all the violation conditions of your probation?
True.
As to all of them?
Yes.
All right. State, have any evidence?
Yes, Judge, we do. In CR 518218I, the state would offer state certificates 1 through 4. We ask they be admitted into evidence and taken for true and correct for all purposes. We also ask the defense counsel and defendant to stipulate it's the same defendant that was previously convicted of 2 prior DWI, CR 04127877D and CR 13060990. And in CR 1323-17I, the state would offer state certificates 1 and 2. We ask they be admitted without objection. We also ask defense stipulate that this is the same defendant that was placed on probation for DWI, a third-degree felony in which he received 5 years. We also ask defense counsel to stipulate to venue and jurisdiction of this honorable court.
No objection, and we so stipulate, Your Honor.
Okay, all exhibits will be admitted by agreement by both parties. Both parties agree to venue jurisdiction, and he was the same person placed on probation previously. Now, we're going to proceed to punishment. Ms. Puig, is there a recommendation as to both cases?
Yes, Judge, on the motion to revoke, just some history for the court. We were at Peter State High School on October 25th, 2018. He stood before you with this revocation. His mother was sick at the time. Your Honor gave him an opportunity to get out of jail. 13 days later, he picks up another felony DWI. It was Monday, November 5th, 2018, about 10:58 at night. He was driving at a very high rate of speed. He flew through a stop sign. When he was pulled over, the officer asked him to get out. He gets out, he has no shirt on, very argumentative. They smell alcohol, he has slurred speech, unsteady balance. They try to perform a field sobriety test, but this defendant is threatening him. They're unable to perform the field sobriety test. They see 5 beers in the car, four are unopened, one's open. They asked him for his breath, and he refused. This is his fourth DWI. Judge, our recommendation on the revocation is 5 years in the Texas Department of Corrections. On the new DWI, it's 7 years in the Texas Department of Corrections. Both of them concurred.
Mr. Sully, anything on behalf of your client?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Morello recognizes that he made a lot of mistakes, he did a lot of things wrong. He violated a lot of the conditions of his probation. He wasn't even supposed to be driving the day that he was arrested for this latest DWI, Your Honor. He basically wasted the opportunities that the court gave him, first of all, giving him probation. And then when he was first before the court on the motion to revoke, the court gave him the opportunity to be released into alternative incarceration programs so that he could get out, get back to work, and also see his mom, who was in the hospital at the time. He is not asking for another chance on probation, Your Honor. He knows that he has wasted that opportunity. He is asking the court to consider sentencing him to 2 years on each of on the new charge as well as on the motion to revoke. Concurrently, he does have a 10-year-old daughter who he
How
is
old?
supporting. 10 years old, Your Honor. He also has a son who was not living with him at the time, but he was previously he was working as an electrician, Your Honor, before he was arrested on the motion to revoke initially. When he was released, last time that we were in court in school, he got a job locally in roofing, and so that's what he was doing, but his main career is as an electrician. He knows he's going to have to go away for some time, Your Honor, and to pay for what he did. He's just asking for the opportunity to eventually be able to return to work, to continue to support his daughter, and hopefully learn from the mistakes that he has made, Your Honor.
She passed.
And he also
You
wanted to
can
ask
tell
that-
me? Why don't you tell me? You're the one who wants to go home. Tell me.
I mean, I'm a single father. The girl, my mother.
A single father, but within 13 days, they pick you up drinking and driving.
Yes.
Really? You want to tell me that? And that's being responsible.
No,
Don't go there. Give me something else.
I'm just being overwhelmed this year. My dad passed away. My girl passed away. I'm single by myself with my girl. I mean, I have a lot of stuff in my head. My mom got sick, so everything that I cared for at the time just was going away.
Did you ask for help?
Yes, I did.
You talked to probation? Because I will find out.
I didn't talk to them.
I'm all about helping. But you need to ask for help. Whether it's I can't help you.
You understand?
I can't give you probation. You're going to be going to jail, sir. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Just want 13 days. Now you're leaving your 10-year-old daughter. What else? Son?
He has a son who's right now living in California, Your Honor, but his daughter was living with him. Right now, she's being taken care of by her.
And who's going to support them now? The government? Right?
Right.
Me?
Right.
All of us over here? It's your responsibility. It's your duty to take care of your kids. You
Yes,
don't
sir.
have a perfect life. Not one person over here has a perfect life. I can tell you that right now. Okay, judgment of the court, then CR 518218I, based on the evidence, I'll find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, sir. In this particular case, I am not going to give you probation, but I'm going to sentence you to 3 years TDC, Texas Department of Corrections. And at this time, now, for EIP, does he have to get the credit for that? How much credit does he have for AIP? Just those?
We don't have it, Judge, calculated.
It shouldn't be much because he only lasted 13 days out there, so he didn't make it. So he will not get credit for AIP. As to CR 13237T9, Daniel Perez Morado, in this case, you will be revoked. All conditions you have violated, and this time I'm going to sentence you to 3 years TDC to run concurrent with CR 518218I. Do you understand that?
Correct.
Mr. Morado, this is your last chance. I'm giving you 3 years, and that's a light sentence. You should be looking at 5 years. You're a single father, you have those kids. I don't know if this is going to wake you up or not, but I have no choice. My purpose is not to send people to jail. My purpose is to get them treatment, get them help. I can't do that with you. You let me down.
Yes, sir.
You let me down. And guess what? Whatever you do from now on, you come back to me. You belong to me.
Yes, sir.
So don't come back to me. I'm not going to forget you. I'm not going to forget you. Judgment of the court. Thank you. You're dismissed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm going to call two cases at the same time here. I'm going to call CR 298918I, State Texas versus David Martinez Garces. And the court's going to call CR 298818I, State Texas versus Aaron Noah Abrego.
Both of you raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
On CR 298918I, State Texas versus David Martinez Garces. True and correct name, sir.
Yes, sir.
On CR 298818I, State Texas versus Aaron Noah Abrego. True and correct name, sir.
Yes, sir.
Your father and son, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're here for the exact same case.
Yes, sir.
Possession of marijuana.
Yes, sir.
What kind of example are you to your son?
Not a very good one, sir.
Your son got arrested. Don't talk. I'm not asking for a response yet. Don't speak back until I ask you to. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Your son got in trouble because of you. And you're both here. He's going to have a record now. You're supposed to lead by example, not a bad example. Mr. Garces, Mr. Abrego, I'm going to ask you the same questions. If you could please pay attention and listen closely. You speak, read, and write the English language, Mr. Garces.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Abrego.
Yes, sir.
Are you a U.S. citizen, Mr. Garces?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Abrego.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been declared mentally incompetent by a doctor, Mr. Garces?
No, sir.
Mr. Abrego.
No, sir.
Counsel speaking to your clients, you find your clients mentally competent to stand trial?
I do, as Mr. Garces, Your Honor.
Judge Pete Espinosa for Mr. Abrigo, and yes, I do.
Sir, I know who you are, but for the record,
Yes,
announcer.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, should have announced. Alex Aguirre, on behalf of the defendant, and I'm accompanied by co-counsel.
Good morning, Your Honor. Victoria Flores, counsel for Mr. Garces.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Garces and Mr. Abrego, have you received a copy of the indictment?
Yes, sir.
Have you had the indictment 2 days before today's date?
Yes, sir.
Have you had at least 10 days to prepare for trial?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Abrego?
Yes, sir.
Same question, yes? All right, both of you are charged with possession of marijuana, more than 4 ounces, less than 5 pounds, a state jail felony. That carries a range of punishment of no less than 6 months, no more than 2 years, and a fine not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you some documents which are called waiver of rights, consent and stipulation of evidence, and or testimony of plea of guilty or no contest. Have you all seen these documents?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Garces, this is your signature here on the second page.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go to the plea admonishment, Mr. Garces, regarding citizenship. That's your signature also.
Yes, sir.
And that's still in the court. Your counsel's advise you. If you're not a U.S. citizen, you shall and you will be deported from this country. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Abrego, this is your signature, second page.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go to the plea admonishments also. It's your signature also.
Yes, sir.
And this is telling me your counsel of records advise you that if you're not a U.S. citizen, you will and you shall be deported from this country. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. By signing these documents, you're giving up certain rights. You have a right to a jury trial, which are 12 individuals who decide if you're guilty or not guilty. A jury can decide or the court decide. Who would you prefer, Mr. Garces?
The court, sir.
Mr. Abrego?
The court.
You also have a right to cross-examine witnesses, but you can waive that right and have the state of Texas prove their case through these 5 exhibits and through your plea of guilty. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
So do you waive the right to cross-examine witnesses, Mr. Garces?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Abrego?
Yes, sir.
By signing these documents, you have plea agreements. There are plea agreements in these cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
You do not have a right to appeal this case or file a motion for a new trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Under 39.14, you're telling the court you receive any and all discovery, which is the evidence against you, and you waive any future discovery. Is that correct, Mr. Garces?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Abrego?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Garces, how do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Mr. Abrego, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
All right, State, have any evidence?
Yes, Your Honor. State offers states exhibits 1 through 5. State would also request defense counsel stipulate to the venue and jurisdiction of this honorable court.
No objection, Judge, and we stipulate to venue and jurisdiction.
No objection as to, and we also stipulate, Your Honor.
All exhibits will be admitted into evidence. Both parties agree to the venue and jurisdiction of this court. Based on that, sir, exhibits and you're based guilty, I'm going to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. We're going to proceed to punishment. What is the agreement?
The state's recommending a $500 fine. Court costs the 5 years deferred adjudication, standard conditions of probation, drug education class, as well as $180 lab fees.
Any objection?
No objections, Judge, only that the $180 lab fee, maybe we can divide that among both defendants since it was the same marijuana that was tested.
No. The father's going to pay for it all. All of it. He's not paying for that. Mr. Abrego, what do you do?
I work at Domino's, sir.
Do you have a high school diploma?
Yes, sir.
You do? Where'd you go to high school?
San Benito High School?
San Benito High School.
Yes, sir.
Where do you live now?
West.
Mr. Abrego, what are you doing? You're young. Answer my question.
Making mistakes, sir.
You're following his lead?
No, I just was in the wrong place, wrong time. I was working before in Houston, but I came for vacation, and I guess around that time it was wrong time.
Okay. As to Mr. Abrego, I'm going to follow the recommendation that's been recorded on the court's record here. So, Mr. Abrego, it's up to you to decide you want to complete this probation properly. You complete this probation, you got deferred adjudication. And I need to tell you what deferred adjudication means. If you do not complete it, you violate the conditions of deferred adjudication, the full range of punishment is available to me. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
This is the way to get your record clean. It's up to you to decide. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, you may have a seat.
May I be excused, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Garces,
Yes, sir.
what's the recommendation?
It's the same recommendation, Your Honor, $500 fine, court costs 5 years deferred adjudication, standard conditions of probation, drug education class, and the lab fees, Your Honor.
What are you doing? This is somewhat emotional to me because my son is right behind you. My son goes to the school. And I would hate to set that example for him. You've got your son arrested. Your son, he could have a record if he doesn't complete his probation. Why should I give you probation also? Why?
Okay, sir, there's no excuse what I did. I got my son in trouble. I could have gotten my wife in trouble, my mom in trouble. It could have gone real bad. It could have gone worse than what it really was. We don't think as an adults about our kids until we get in trouble. And that's one of the things I really wanted to point out. I know I did bad. And I am gonna take full responsibility of what I did. I hope I never have to go through this again. I hope nobody has to go through this. I hope people that are seeing this can learn from what we're doing wrong. You know, we always say we're gonna do better.
You know what? Turn around and tell the kids this. Not tell them.
Most of you are gonna go through this, I guarantee you, one way or another. Your parents are gonna get a rude awakening when they do go through this. This is nothing to laugh about or be proud of. You know, I got my son over there. He had a clean record. Now he don't. You know, we don't think about that until the situation is done and over. We always say, well, we do it for our kids. We're not gonna be there if we keep doing this. And you guys are gonna grow up without a dad, without a mom, without an uncle, aunt, whoever's doing this, whoever's gonna get you involved in this, it's gonna get you in a bad situation. You don't have to be doing it. All you have to be is around it. That's what you guys need to understand. If you guys are around it, get away from it. Talk to your parents, tell them what you're doing is not, the consequences is gonna affect me. This is ridiculous. This is something we should never go through. And
like he said, he got his son here too. He's looking at me like, what a loser. Is that what you guys want to see? Is that what you guys want to be? Because it's going to be up to you. This is not a joke. I could go to prison. You know, it's terrible when you grow up without a dad. You guys think if 15 minutes on a phone is going to be enough for you guys to be good with them? You need to talk to your parents. If your parents are doing this, you need to talk to them. You need to tell them what the consequences really are. And what you guys are going to go through and what you guys are going to end up at. Because what you see, you'll do. You think because you're at a certain age, there's a lot of influence from us to you guys. You guys need to wake up and be an adult and see what's really going on. You guys are getting to that point where you guys are going to be adults. With that, I'll let you guys be and have you guys really think about it. Talk to your parents, talk to your uncles, aunts, whoever you need to talk to for this not to happen to you or your family. Thank you. So you're asking for this is deferred, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. 5 years, same recommendation as the other.
I'm not good with that. Take him into custody. Okay, the court's going to call CR 2486715I, Sentex versus Roel Garza Rocha. Sir, true and correct name, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, do you speak, read, and write the English language?
Yes, sir.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir.
In case you're mistaken, this could affect your status in this country. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been declared mentally incompetent by a doctor?
No, sir.
Counsel speaking, your client mentally competent to stand trial?
Mr. Rocha is competent, Your Honor.
Okay, sir. Have you received a copy of your motion to revoke your probation, community supervision?
We have, Your Honor.
Okay, have you had a sufficient reasonable amount of time to review with your attorney?
Yes.
Okay, there are several conditions they're alleging. Do you understand that? And you're on probation for possession of controlled substance, which they state jail felony. That carries a range of punishment of no less than 6 months, no more than 2 years, and a fine not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. I'm going to show you these documents on the waiver of rights, consent, stipulation of evidence, and/or testimony of plea of true to state's motion to revoke state jail community supervision. Have you seen these documents?
Yes, sir.
Anybody force you, trick you, or promise you to sign these documents?
No, sir.
This is your signature here on the second page.
Yes, sir.
I understand you have a plea agreement. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
In the plea agreement, this is your signature also.
Yes, sir.
Sir, having a plea agreement in this particular case, I typically will follow the recommendation that the agreement made between the parties, but we'll have to hear the facts of the case. Do you understand that? All right, sir. Sir, by signing these rights, you do not have a right to have a jury trial. I decide what happens to you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
In this particular case, you're also waiving the right to cross-examine witnesses who sit to my left. But you can waive that right and have the state of Texas prove their case through these exhibits and through your plea of true as to all the conditions of violations of probation. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. As to all the conditions of probation, you plead true or not true?
True.
Okay, state have any evidence?
Yes, Your Honor. State offers State Exhibits 1 through 3. State would also request defense counsel stipulate to this is the same defendant who was previously placed on probation.
Your Honor, we have no objections to the state's exhibits, and it's so stipulate as to this defendant being on probation.
Okay. The exhibits will be admitted. Both parties agree to the venue and jurisdiction of this court. He is the same person who was previously placed on probation out of this court also. What are some facts in this case?
Your Honor, on September 10th, 2015, the defendant was placed on 2 years community supervision. 3 years of community supervision for a state jail felony possession of a controlled substance. He subsequently failed to report on October of 2016, November of 2016, December, January, and February of 2017. He has not paid fine, community supervision fees, crime stopper fees, court costs, court-appointed counsel, as well as lab fees, and failing to complete 15-hour drug education class. He also picked up a new possession of controlled substance. And that is a felony.
Mr. Rocha, do you have high school diploma?
No, sir.
What's your level of education?
8th.
8th grade?
Yes, sir.
You know you're going to jail, Mr. Rocha.
Yes, sir.
You're 53 years old, you said?
52.
52?
Yes, sir.
These should be your years where you should be enjoying. You any kids, grandchildren?
No.
You live alone?
Yes, with my mom.
How old is your mom?
How old?
Yes.
77, I think.
So you don't have kids, you're not married, you don't have a family.
No, sir.
You're by yourself.
Yes.
You take care of your mom?
Yes, sir.
Why didn't you report? That's the easiest thing to do while you're in probation is to report. I will never, never put someone in jail because they're indigent. And for lack of better word, because they're poor. I will never do that. Ever. The easiest thing is to report to probation. They'll help you. Why didn't you report?
Stupidity.
What?
Stupidity.
And look where your stupidity, you're gonna go to 18 months and you're gonna be in custody now. Not gonna report? Go to jail. I can help you report by sending you to jail. You don't want that. Mr. Rocha, I'm not here to send people to jail. I don't like that. You think I get comfort in that? I get no comfort sending people to jail whatsoever. I wanna help you. Do you work?
I'm disabled.
What's wrong?
Well, I got arthritis and doctors opened me up for beer, for stabbings and gunshot and
Did you get that in the war or out there in the streets?
out there in the streets.
Mr. Rocha, come on. You didn't learn your lesson then? You got shot. You got stabbed. And now you're back again? Think about it. Your mom's there. Is your mom sick?
No,
She's healthy.
she's over.
You should be enjoying your life with your mother, not in jail. Okay, the agreement of the court, agreement with the parties is 18 months TDC or state jail felonies. That's going to be approved by the court. Recognition read to the record will be approved by the court. Nothing further. You may be excused.
Your Honor, there is one other matter. There's a pending case in intake, Your Honor. He was picked up on a UPOCS charge, if I'm not mistaken, Judge. As part of this plea agreement, the state has agreed to dismiss that charge, Judge.
That's correct, Your Honor. The recommendation is the 18 months state jail as part of this revocation, but we will be agreeing to dismiss the new intake out of felony. It's not been indicted yet. Or out of intake.
And we respectfully request the court approve that, Your Honor.
Okay, that'll be approved.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have a good day.
May I be for the excuse, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
We have our last case for the morning, and it's going to be CR 477389. Desiree Lynn Vasquez.
Raise your right hand. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Why were you late?
Traffic.
What?
Traffic.
You always plan ahead of time.
Yes, I know.
And I used to start court at 8 o'clock. But today we did it at 9. And you would have been late. You always plan. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Vasquez, your name is Vasquez, right?
Yes.
There's no relation, correct?
No.
All right, then. Do we have an announcement in this case?
The state does have an announcement, Your Honor. Following surveillance on an animal residence, a search warrant was executed on April 13th of 2018, which led to multiple drug-related arrests. Ms. Vasquez was present at the scene on that day, and one of those arrests that was made. Following further investigation into the case, reviewing it, along with Alamo PD and Defense Counsel, discussions we have determined that Ms. Vasquez was not involved in the drug operations that were ongoing that day. She was essentially in the wrong place at the wrong time and was arrested as a result of that. But the state has determined that we're going to dismiss the charges against Ms. Vasquez due to those facts.
And this is possession of controlled substance, a second-degree felony, which carries a range of punishment of no less than 2 years, no more than 20, and a fine not to exceed $10,000. You could have gone to jail for up to 20 years. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Who was in the car with her? What happened?
It was a house, Your Honor.
A house?
It was a house that was...
Tell me about the facts. You know what? They may want to know, because this is in high school, right? How old are you?
I'm 19. I just turned 19.
Turn around. How young does she look? Does she look 19? She could be your classmate, right? Okay? Were you with fellow classmates?
No, I wasn't.
No, at the house.
At the house with just one, but the rest, they weren't classmates.
They were just your friends' friends?
They weren't my friends. They're
Ms. Vasquez,
people that I
they're
know.
just they're dismissing his case against you. How lucky are you?
Very.
What are you doing now?
I'm getting my stuff together. I'm already gonna start working at Ross. I'm gonna go to school.
Where are you gonna go to school?
My plan A was to go to school for criminal justice.
Okay, you can still do that. Why
Yeah,
not?
I could, but and I moved on to plan B because I was scared that I wasn't gonna be able to do what I wanted to do. So now I'm going to school for business at South Texas College.
So you're in school already. You're a student.
Yeah, I'm a student.
Awesome.
Yes.
I'm gonna grant your dismissal, and I'm gonna expunge your record, which means you're gonna be clean. You're crying. This is something that's just good for you, and it's a good cry. And the DA's office, I mean, this is something I think you should address. The DA's office is not here just to put people in jail, or the sheriff's deputy. We have our sheriff here locally. We look at all the cases. When they get to this level to the court, we look at it closely, see how we can help out. And in this case, Mrs. Vasquez's case is going to be dismissed. Your record is going to be expunged, and you're going to be clear of everything. How much better is that? You're welcome. So don't think that we're here to hurt anybody. We're not. We're here to help. She looks like you all. She could be one of your fellow students, and you could be in the wrong place at the wrong time. You could be driving with person A or B. He or she may have marijuana in the car. And guess what? Y'all get arrested unless someone claims it. And typically they don't claim it. It's not mine, it's hers. It's not mine, it's his. So guess what happens? The sheriff arrests everybody. You gotta be careful who you're with. And it's gonna be hard. We're all gonna make mistakes. We're all gonna make mistakes. So, your case will be dismissed. Your case will be expunged. So, congratulations, okay?
Well, I did have something written, but I'm just gonna speak to y'all, whatever's. When I walked in here, y'all probably would have never thought that I was in county a couple of months ago. That would have probably never crossed your mind. Y'all probably looked at me like, what is she doing here? Like, why is she here, right? I went from sleeping over to getting arrested the next morning. I woke up thinking that I was gonna go to school. I didn't. I went from accomplishing every goal that I wanted to reach to being scared that I wasn't gonna see my family, being scared that I was gonna be locked up for years. Like, when I was in there, you think a lot and you realize so much. Right now, yes, most of you are probably like, who cares if I go in there? Like, I don't care, da da da. But when you're in there, you care. You care, and you realize so much, and you understand so much. And I'm not gonna ask if who smokes, who drinks, because I know y'all are not gonna raise your hands. But is it worth what you're getting high off for hours? Is that worth you going to jail for years? Is it worth it? Is it worth being high for like 5 hours and then end up getting caught and going to jail for 5 years? Is that worth it? Like, compare the time difference. Is it really worth it? Like, do you want to be in there not being able to call your mom, not being sure that you were going to receive money so you can eat in there? Y'all love your freedom. Y'all love Snapchat. Y'all love Instagram. Y'all love Twitter. Y'all love everything. When you go in there, they control you. They control you. Out here, you're controlling your own life. You're controlling yourself. You want to make sure you reach every goal that you want. Go to school, finish school. Go be what you want to be. Go big. Don't choose something dumb, because it's not worth it. It really isn't. It's not worth it. And that's because I was in there for something that I wasn't even involved in. But me being at the wrong place at the wrong time, I could have been in there for years. I could have been in there for years. He could have easily told me, you know what, no, you're going in for 2 years, you need to learn your lesson. He could have easily done that to me. So I'm telling you guys, like, it's not worth it. Don't do it. Don't, like, if you have friends that do it, that's them. But you have the right to say no. You have the right to say no. So if you were to get in trouble for it, you can't be like, oh, well, it's not my fault and da-da-da. No, you were there. You knew what you were doing. You know, you understand. That's all I needed to say. It's just not worth you going to jail for. It really
What's it
isn't.
like in there? I mean, are you by yourself in your own suite where you have your own restroom and you get food delivered through Grubhub?
Let me just tell you, you go from good meals to cold meals. You go from a comfortable bed to a sleeping pad. You go from a soft blanket to a blanket that feels like a rug. It's bad. I'm pretty sure y'all love peeing by yourselves. Y'all love showering alone where no one's looking at you. Well, when you're in there, there's eyes on you. Like you don't feel comfortable. You don't feel comfortable. And one mistake you do in there, you say something wrong, someone's gonna come. Someone's gonna come. Either they're gonna beat you up. You don't know. They can stab you. I was in there with 27 girls. 27 girls, and they were all 30, 27, no lower than 25. I was the only 18-year-old in there with 27 girls. Can you imagine if I would have stayed there longer and I didn't go by what they told me? Can you imagine what could have happened to me? It's not worth it. It's not. It really isn't. Right now, y'all are probably like, my mom this and my mom that. I'm not gonna listen to her, da-da-da. I'm not gonna do anything she says. When you go in there, your mama is all you think about. All you think about. You're thinking, what if she hates me? What if she's disappointed? What if she doesn't, like, love me? You think a lot when you're in there, and it's hard. It really is. So I'm telling you guys that it's not worth it. It really isn't. Go to school, go to college after high school, like, go big. I was a dancer. I had it all. I had it made. I was a dancer. I was good grades. Everything was good. Everything was perfect. Everything was going the way I wanted it. I was already gonna go to school for criminal justice, and I had to change my plans because I thought that I was gonna be in there for years. I went from wanting to go to school to be an FBI agent to going to school for business. And don't get me wrong, I want to do business. I want to open multiple businesses. But my main goal is to become an FBI agent.
You can still do it.
And I'm going to do it.
I'm getting rid of your record right now. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. Miss Puig, she's my head prosecutor. She's the boss. You want to say anything? Can they hear you?
What do you think of it? Of what you saw today? What did you say? Scary? I've been doing this for 15 years. I love my job. I went to school to be a prosecutor. My job is to seek justice, to protect all the victims. It's so rewarding. We're here to lead you in the right direction. You know, you have choices. I think one of the defendants said, you're going to end up here eventually. No, you don't have to. You don't ever have to end up in a courtroom unless you want to be a judge or a prosecutor or a defense lawyer. Every decision you make will affect the rest of your life.
You can release them out there.
And we're just here to lead you in the right direction and make good decisions. But I've been doing this for 15 years. This is my partner, Anthony. He's been doing it for how long?
2 years.
If you have any questions for us or need any help, we're at the DA's office.
Who wants to speak on behalf of the defense bar? Kathy? Kathy over here is one of my good friends. She's an Aggie. She used to be a prosecutor like Michelle Puig over here. In fact, they're partners in this particular court. She's a city councilwoman, city of Donna, former of Donna. And she's a lawyer and has 3 wonderful kids.
Hi, good morning. My name is Kathy Alvarado, like Judge says. I've been an attorney now for a little over 16 years. I've been on that side, and now I'm on this side. I love what I do. I'm here to help people. You know, you saw that I was conflicted out of representing my client this morning because I prosecuted him over 10 years ago. So, I mean, that's rare that that happens, but it does happen. But I guess what I wanted to tell you all is, like everyone says, we're here just to give you all an idea of what really happens in court. And like Ms. Vasquez spoke, she spoke very well. Great job. She has a great future ahead of her, a very bright future. There's not many 19-year-olds who can come up here and speak the way she did. I don't know if any of you all realize what she said is true. Everything that you have is your choice. Everything that you do is your choice. It's all a choice. Who you choose to surround yourself with, your friends, what you want to do. You're in control of your future. Nobody can tell you what to do. Just, you know, I tell my son, like Judge, I have 3 children. I tell my son every morning when I drop him off, he's an 8th grader. I love you, make good choices. And he jokes, what if I don't? Well, you know, what if you don't? Well, there's consequences. And see, what if you don't? Those gentlemen that were right here, that's what happens. You know, so I know, like I said, he jokes about it, but he's gone to court with me. He's going to visit Judge Vasquez and see what happens, and he knows. And I know Olivia and Alejandro have seen it firsthand too. They know. So now you all know and can share with your friends. But I mean, any questions you all may have, anything you want to know, what it takes to be a lawyer, what it takes to be anything here, just ask questions. You all are a very quiet group.
You'll be the first school.
Right here. She has a
they
question.
won't have a question. Yes, ma'am.
Why did you make the transition?
So when I made the transition, personal reasons at the time, I had my 2nd child, so I took a little time off. Then I went into private practice on my own, and I did some mostly criminal, family law, some contracts, some wills, just different opportunities came at the time. And now I work at the public defender's office. Again, just circumstances with personal choices. And I get to be, this is what I tell everybody, I still get to be in the courtroom every day and do what I love. So it's not.
We have a question over here.
What level of education do you need, and also what do you do on a day-to-day basis other than court?
Okay, the level of education, you need to go to college.
Yeah, but like what
It's a step you go through. You have to go to college, get your 4-year degree in the college, then law schools afterwards, which is 3 years. Some individuals finish it in 2.5 years. It's a possibility. It's 3 years. Once you finish law school, you graduate, you take what they call the bar exam, and that allows you to practice law. You have to pass that bar exam. So once you pass that bar exam, you can practice law. So those are the levels you do. So what I do, I start really early in the morning compared to some other judges. 8 o'clock means 8 o'clock. So we start. And we're usually done by 11 o'clock in the morning. In the afternoons are more for me to read documents, to rule on certain cases for the next day. I'll give you an example. In my particular court, sometimes you hear certain motions. You have to, lawyers make arguments, and they submit paperwork on each side. And you have to decide who we're gonna rule in favor of. In my particular court, I don't have anything under advisement. I rule immediately or by the next day. And the reason I do that, because there could be some issues where who's gonna get custody, who's gonna get visitation for the weekend. If those lawyers don't have that, they cannot serve their clients. And they can't serve their clients can't see their kids. That's important. So that's my typical day. The DA's office, they're reviewing files all day long, getting ready for trials, getting subpoenas out, trying to work out deals with all the defense lawyers over here. So before they come here, they usually try to work things out amongst them. So they're busy all day long. Any other questions?
Yes, sir. One more here.
Where?
Right up here, sir.
I had a question. Why is there only 3 prosecutors and 7 defending attorneys?
Well, we have 2 prosecutors in each.
There was one more, yes.
Each defense attorney over here, they represent individual clients. So that's the reason why. Everybody here has their own particular client. And so that's the way it works. The prosecution, they represent the state of Texas. Okay? Any other questions? So I'm going to call the sheriff up here in a minute to give a little speech. Yes, sir. Public defenders, okay. Kathy, you ready?
And first of all, I'd just like to thank our public defenders for the service they do for this country and our state of Texas. But my question revolves around, you hear a lot of stories in the news about public defense attorneys not having enough time to spend on a case because there's so many cases that have to go through the public defender's court because oftentimes these defendants don't have the money to pay for a private attorney. I was wondering if you had any opinions on how we as a country could solve that problem. I know that's kind of a big question, but.
Right.
Good question.
It is a big question and it all comes down to funding, right? But I'm going to tell you, here in Hidalgo County, in our public defender's office, we have 11 attorneys. We have 11 attorneys who handle juvenile, child welfare cases, child support cases, misdemeanor cases in county courts, and we have my boss, Jaime Gonzalez, and myself covering felonies. But we also have an indigent defense program here in Hidalgo County. And you're right, the majority of the clients we service here are indigent and can't afford to hire attorneys, but these attorneys here are all in private practice and they qualify to accept court-appointed cases. So our office isn't as overwhelmed as maybe some others throughout the state that you hear, like public defenders handling 200 cases in one day. That's not the case for us. In a year, my caseload is about 500 cases, 400 to 500 cases. But all these attorneys here have qualified, and they qualify, our indigent defense program qualifies them based on their trial experience. So I know Mr. Garza here can accept felonies, capital murder cases.
Death penalty cases?
Death penalty, and then you just graduate based on your trial experience here. So again, it's a little different here than what you see in the news because we do service a very large indigent community here.
Thank you.
I don't know if that answered.
That answered the question. I got an answer out of that. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
How do you guys approach a case in which you know that the client is guilty?
Ooh. I was a criminal defense lawyer for over 20 years. That's what I did. I was in their seat. This is what I did until I became a judge. So I have to wear a different hat now. I'm kind of in the middle now. I got to make sure they behave and they behave over here, basically. But do you want to answer how you do that now?
If I may, Judge, that's a great question, and I get that every Thanksgiving. Every single Thanksgiving, a relative comes, how can you represent the guilty? I have never had a person, other than somebody who had violated probation, I've never had a client walk in that is guilty. Ever. I don't care if they accuse him of having a machete in his hand, fingerprints, and a dead body in the trunk of the car. Guess what? He's innocent. Because that's the presumption we have. You are innocent unless proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, if that person voluntarily pleads guilty, that's their decision. It is not my decision to judge them, though. Our job, as the judge mentioned earlier, is to defend that person's rights. The burden to prove that person guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, that rests with the state of Texas. Their job is to seek justice, and there was a lawyer that I knew up in Austin used to joke around. He said, their job is to seek justice, our job is to kind of obstruct a little bit, you know, to keep that justice from happening. We don't necessarily always want that to happen, but you do your best and you defend the rights of that particular client. And I know that's what we do here in Hidalgo County, and I'm pretty proud to be part of that bar.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay, what's your question?
What's the worst case, like the worst crime you've ever like seen or heard of, or like you've been in?
This one always makes me want to cry. The worst case, I have a client who got the death penalty on one count and he got life on the other counts. It's called the Edinburgh Massacre, where he killed 13 people. So I've tried a lot of high-profile criminal cases, and cases that involve that. But the worst one where the stepfather punched his stepson and hurt him. He hurt him so bad that he ruptured internal organs, that the little boy died. He was on the slab, basically the morgue. They're doing an autopsy. And I say this all, I get that question asked all the time. He looked just like Alejandro at that same age, like my son. So whenever I see that picture, I see him. So that was the worst case that I've ever been involved with, where I see my son laying there. So things like that, they grab you. They bring you in. I take my problems home, probably I shouldn't, but you stress about them. That I make the right decision as a judge, as a lawyer. But that's my worst case, where I see that little boy there, and I don't know how he had little spiky hair when he was a baby. Real spiky hair, and it's a little longer now, but it was my son right there laying, opened up, organ showing. Now look at that man. How could you after he pled guilty, how could you do this to this little, beautiful little boy? So that's the worst case that I've ever dealt with. Question over here?
We have a question up here, sir, up top.
Okay.
Do you guys handle immigration cases? And if you do, how so?
We don't. That deals with that's the federal court system. We're in the state of Texas and the Hidalgo County, so we don't deal with immigrations. Now, they do come into play when someone wants to plead guilty. It affects their status and if they could be deported. So when you heard me there going through the plea, I warned them, if you're not a U.S. citizen, you can, you will, and you shall be deported from this country. But we don't deal with immigration issues on the state level.
Mr. Judge, there's somebody in here that is from CPS.
No, we're not. There's a CPS court that deals with it. That's Judge Villalon, who deals with that, but we don't deal with CPS cases. If there's child abuse cases, they do come to my court when they're charged criminally. But that's another judge who just deals with CPS cases only.
So it's not you which one they
No,
do the
ma'am.
cases?
No, ma'am. If afterwards you want to ask me some questions, you can ask me some questions and maybe it can lead you in the right direction. But for me, we do not touch CPS cases. That's Judge Villalon. In fact, I think his daughter goes to school here. Sharyland? Okay, wrong school then. You had a question. As a lawyer or as a judge? No, I don't put people in jail. I put people in jail, I sentence them, but they plead guilty, like today, they pled guilty, so I sentence them to jail, yes. If I believe someone just pleading guilty because they want to, they're just trying to get out of something else, I won't accept the plea. You have to be truly and voluntarily accept the plea because you're truly guilty of that crime. So the answer to your question is no. And I wouldn't allow that. I protect everybody's rights. It's important because I tell everybody, if you're up here, if it's your daughter, your son, your mother, your father getting accused of a crime, wouldn't you want someone to be truthful? That's what we're looking for. It's important. So, next question.
One up here, sir.
What is one complicated case you handled that took a long time to decide on?
As a lawyer? As a judge?
As a judge.
Oh. This case that I'm dealing with right now, it's more of a civil case instead of this. It's a civil case where a company is being sued. And they're being sued because the company, there's an incident that happened, but they're asking for what's called death penalty sanctions. And that's where I take the company's defenses away completely because they got involved in something they shouldn't have done. It's called discovery. Discovery is where you ask for information from the other side. And I'll give you an example. My family took off for Thanksgiving break. Where'd y'all go? West Texas? They took off. The case was so complicated. Each document was about 120 pages long. They're briefs and all the exhibits. So I was at about 2,000 pages. I actually stayed home during that break, and that's all I did. It was a very complicated issue that I had to deal with because someone's going to get hurt. A company or the individual, the man is burned from the neck down, and he's paralyzed after an accident. So, and that's a civil case versus a criminal case. So having to understand that law, it doesn't happen in Texas very often. And then I've only been a judge for 2 years. And in my 2 years, I get that issue comes up before me. And I've gone to other judges, well, I've never had that happen in 20 years for me, or 16 years. I get that with my second year. And that case could be worth from a $100 million case or zero. So you have to make the right call. And if I'm wrong, we have a court of appeals system and the Supreme Court, and they'll tell me that I'm wrong. And I have no problem with that whatsoever. If they tell me I'm wrong, someone gets to oversee my work. Like a teacher, they get to grade me. So I don't have a problem with that at all. Next question. Yes, ma'am. It's all here. You got to think about it. Probation department has a history of how they work. They have a history of what they've done or haven't done. The DA's office, Ms. Puig over here, she can tell you some individuals, I've been dealing with that guy for the past 12 years, or that lady for the past, 14 years. She can tell you that. And in speaking to them, I like their families to come in. And I speak to their families. Their families are important. Sometimes their families don't know what they did. So they get a little embarrassed. And I make them requirements. I bring them in for status. But that's where I give them a second chance. That's just me. I believe in second chances. I was given a second chance in life. I'm taking it. So it's just a matter of a gut feeling sometimes. Plus, they feed you information to help out. Anybody else?
We have a question over here.
How do you refrain from what happens in the courtroom from affecting your personal life?
It's hard. I mean, my kids can tell you. I come home sometimes. You know what I saw in court today? You know what happened? You better not be doing this, never doing that. I mean, it's hard because the distinction between being a father, being a judge, and being there, it's when I come home, it's hard. But I try to leave work at work and come home. And I try to be the best father that I can. And a lot of you guys see me here at all the games. I'm always here. And I enjoy it, but you have to draw a line somewhere where it has to happen. But I bring those experiences where I can teach my kids, saying, hey, this is what I saw today. Like that young lady over here, that happens, but in other situations where you're in a car. Let's say you and Olivia in a car together, and where's Kyle Sullivan here now? No. Kyle and Alejandro. And let's say Alejandro has drugs in the car with him. And then you're all in the car. but he says it's not mine. All of you guys can be arrested for that until someone claims it or doesn't claim it. So you just got to be careful. So I try to teach him those little life lessons, and that's what I bring home from work. Next question.
I have a question here, sir.
I know y'all were talking about the innocent until proven guilty. Have you ever had to defend someone that you don't feel is morally correct, like to defend them? And if so, like what was the case?
Anybody? Lucy? Lucy will answer.
Okay, yeah, it's working. That's a really difficult thing that we deal with because I do a lot of sex cases. So that means that the allegations revolve around somebody being alleged to have committed sexual abuse and oftentimes against children. So as a general idea, I mean, I don't think anybody in this room likes the allegation, right? So morally, that's really tough to deal with. But I find that I have to just remove myself from even letting my mind go there to whether guilt or innocence, because that's not my job to decide whether they're guilty or not. My job is to help protect their rights and hold the state to their burden to prove the allegations are true. So I guess it may be circumventing your question a little bit, but it's very difficult to say. It's really something that we can't allow our minds to go to. It would be morally incorrect for me to defend him if I felt that big of a conflict that I couldn't get my mind beyond it. Then I would have to withdraw. But I haven't faced that situation yet.
Not yet.
Mhm.
All right, next question.
Up here, sir. Right over here. More for the attorneys on both
Okay.
sides. You're sitting very far apart from each other. I noticed that. I'm just curious, as attorneys, as a professional, prosecutors and defense attorneys, do you play nice with each other? Is there camaraderie, or is there?
I'll take it.
Do you guys hang out together, or how does that work?
Absolutely. We deal with each other every day, and some of us do, like, most of this side of the table has private practices. So we do family law cases. Sometimes we're on the same side with each other. Sometimes we're against each other. And really with the prosecutors, they're there to seek justice, and they're the ones that are going to give us recommendations for our clients. So we explain the situation to them, and they'll tell us, yes, we agree with you, or no, we absolutely not. But that's in the courtroom. Outside of the courtroom, we have a great bar. We all get along well. We're friends, I think, for the most part. Everybody gets along. I mean, you have those one or two who, like to give us a difficult time. But
And they're not here, by the way. They're not here.
And Judge, I'd also like to add, with regards to college and universities, you can have any degree before you go into law school. So it doesn't have to be a criminal justice degree, or so even if it's late and you've already gone through college and you decide, you know what, I should have gone to law school, you can still do it. So I just wanted to add that to some of the other commentaries.
You have a question, Michael?
Where did each of y'all go to school?
What's the question?
Where did each of y'all go to school? Like both undergraduate?
Law school or?
Both.
Oh, I went undergraduate at Texas A&M University, College Station, and started pursuing a master's degree in business at St. Edward's in Austin. Started doing financial statement analysis and realized this is horrible. And my wife convinced me to go ahead and go to law school. So, my undergraduate degree is in philosophy, so I had to go to grad school.
There you go.
I went to Texas A&M University College Station, and then I went to St. Mary's Law School in San Antonio, and I started when I was 18, and I finished straight through 7 years.
So I graduated from Sharyland High School, and then from there went to Penn State University in Pennsylvania, came home, went to Thurgood Marshall in Houston, and then moved back home.
That's where we went together. Huh? Okay, at the very end, they want the quick question of where you went to law school, then you can give a speech. You want to tell them? Okay, let's do it. We used to try cases together. He's been a defense lawyer for many, many years.
Okay, my name is Rogelio Garza, and I graduated from Hebronville High School in 1963. That's after Columbus landed. And about the school, I went to the University of Pan American after I got out of the Army, and I always wanted to go to law school. I knew some of the attorneys that were that when I was a policeman in Edinburgh, I knew them being attorneys, and they had gone to Baylor. So I wanted to go to Baylor, but I couldn't even spell Baylor. So they brought a school here, Reynaldo Garza School of Law, after a federal judge. And I was 44 years old, and I went to that school, graduated. That school moved several times, and now it's part of Texas A&M. What I want to tell you is that there was 55 of us in high school. And for a year I went to work in Houston and came back one Christmas, and most of the girls were out to college, half of the guys also. I graduated probably out of the 55, close to the end. My counselor said, I want to go to a little school in San Antonio, electronic school. He says, you won't make it. Join the Army. Oh, not bad. Maybe they can pay for my college, and that's what happened. And so I really want to tell you, whatever you want to do, you can do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Quickly, we'll go to the school and law school.
Okay, so remember Judge tells you that sometimes you mess up and you get second chances? So I graduated from Memorial, went to UT Austin, was there about a year, and my dad said, you're coming home, you're messing up. I was doing fine in school, but I was, enjoying college life. So
Your
they
party.
Yes, so they brought me home and they said, you're coming home. So I came home and graduated from UTRGV and then went on to law school. So don't do that, stick to the plan, and you'll get where you need to be.
I went to Memorial High School in McAllen, then I went to A&M, Texas A&M in College Station, and then I went to South Texas College of Law in Houston.
Wait to hear where he went.
I grew up here in the Valley in McAllen, moved to Laredo for high school, graduated from high school there, went to Harvard for college, studied psychology, decided to go to law school, went to law school at Stanford.
She didn't go to law school, but the court report, how long? Quickly, we got
yes.
time-wise.
I'm the court reporter. This is a court of record. Everything has to be taken down. Like the judge said, there's a shortage of court reporters. It's a really good job. And if anybody has questions at the end, I can tell you what you need to do.
She makes more than me.
For undergrad, I went to the university.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. The University of Texas in San Antonio. And then I went out of state. I went to Widener University in Delaware.
I graduated from Texas Christian University, TCU, followed by St. Mary's Law School in San Antonio.
All right. And Derek, college where?
I went to Texas A&M Kingsville.
Okay.
I graduated from Thurgood Marshall School of Law, and I graduated from Veterans Memorial Mission.
There you go. You got some booze over here. Next question.
We have a question right here.
Where? Okay.
With all the cases you dealt with, does it or did it mentally affect you?
Did it mentally?
Yeah, affect you.
Yeah, I think anything that happens in life that you deal with, it could be a situation that you've dealt with. It could be from a teacher, sport, at home. It does. We see some ugly, ugly, ugly cases every single day. They come in here and you say, how could that happen? I got the 8-month little girl who they found him guilty of molesting her. Yeah, that's ugly. And it's hard. We have to distinguish that when we go home. And I think that was a question earlier, kind of mixed together there. It's difficult sometimes. It is, but I do my best not to take it home. And sometimes my kids feel it. Just it's tiring, it drains you sometimes. Yes, sir.
This is for the DA. How does the state come up with recommended fines and sentences for the judge?
How do you?
We take a lot into consideration, whether that's their history, whether that's what the charge is, what the time they're facing, and the circumstances of the case. So a lot plays into it. We look at the range. First of all, what are we working with? What are our options? And then what have they been sentenced to before? In a lot of cases, have they already been up? Is it their first offense? Things like that. It's really an all-encompassing decision. So a lot of that also comes into play. Like was mentioned before, we discussed with the defense attorneys. Okay, where are you all at? What is your position on it? Can we work something out that we both agree on? So a lot goes into the decision.
All right. When the person asks, do you swear to tell the truth and stuff, what if you say no?
If they say we can't take their plea and we got to come back, and if they're in custody, eventually they're going to want to speak the truth. And we'll always figure a way out. That's never happened in my 21 years as a lawyer. But I guess when it happens, I'll make sure I call and find you because I have no idea what would happen there. Next question. No. No. Every decision I've made so far, if it's in a family law case, custody, if it's in a dismissal of a case, I've never regretted not one single decision. And if I'm wrong, they'll tell me that I'm wrong. I have no problems with that whatsoever. Real quick, Judge Marla, Sheriff, y'all want to say anything? We're just, no? Okay, Judge Sheriff, you want to say?
I just want to say just thank you for the opportunity for allowing us to be here with you today. It's been a pleasure to be able to sit here and witness your attentiveness. I think that your superintendent, I could hear the conversation she was having where she was so proud of your behavior today and the fact that you're so well behaved, and it was something inspiring to see. So I hope that you learned a lot. We're at the courthouse. I'm on the first floor of the courthouse. I just became a judge I was elected last year, became a judge on January the 1st. So if you all are ever in the area, if you want to come by and visit, we are here to serve you, your parents, and soon you guys, if you're 18 years old and you can vote. We're here as public servants for you. So if you will ever have a question, you want to come by and visit, I know Judge Keno's door is always open. My door is always open. Once again, thank you so much for allowing us to spend the morning with you, and God bless you guys.
Judge, may I wear your hat in your courtroom, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank
You're my sheriff. He's an Aggie also.
All right. Good morning, Diamondbacks. How are y'all this morning? All right. Why don't everybody stand up and give Judge Vasquez a round of applause. I know how it feels sitting for about an hour and a half on those bleachers. But first of all, again, I want to reiterate what Judge Cuellar said. I want to really, first of all, I want to thank the judge for coming into your school and allowing you all to see firsthand how the criminal justice system works. I want to thank your principal, Mr. Heath, your superintendent, and your board of trustees for also allowing this to happen. You all are very, very privileged to be able to see this firsthand, because we are a visual society, and y'all get to see exactly what happens when people make some bad choices. You've heard it first from the judge. You heard it from the defense attorneys. You heard it from the state attorney, and then you heard it from the defendant, Ms. Vasquez, who unfortunately, in her case, she was caught in a situation where she was at the wrong place at the wrong time. But some of the other defendants, they made some bad choices. I want to ask, what is these people here in blue and khaki uniform? What group is this? What is it? Okay.
Practice of law.
So you all want to enter the criminal justice system. Some of y'all want to go into law enforcement. Maybe some go into law school. Who else wants to maybe go into law school or into law enforcement? All of y'all. Okay. Well, I'm going to give you some words of advice. If you want to go into law enforcement, y'all are going to go through a very, very strict background check to include a polygraph. And in that polygraph, I guarantee you, you're not going to be able to circumvent some of the truth. So my advice to you is to make the correct choices and not get caught up in a situation where it's going to come back and hurt you in your future, because you all have your whole life ahead of you right now. You've heard a lot of people tell you the future is what you make of it, and you know, I wish I had this opportunity to see this when I was in high school, because I've made some bad choices. But fortunately, those choices were never brought to light. Well, you know, I'm gonna tell you about it if we have the time. So I was 17 years old. And if you recall back when at my age, the drinking age was 18. Okay. And I was just graduated from high school, and I didn't have good enough grades to attend Texas A&M University to get in. But there was a program that if you went to summer school and you proved yourself that you had what it take to get in, you could do it. Well, I wanted to just graduated from high school. I wanted to enjoy my summer. I didn't want to go to college yet. I wanted to wait till the fall. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go to back then it was called Pan American University. So my father said, no, you're going to A&M. And I said, no, Dad, I want to stay here. I want to go to Pan Am. He said, no. So I graduated May 27th, and I was reluctant, and on June 1st, I started my college career at Texas A&M University. I had no friends up there, nobody. By myself, 17 years old. The people I did meet, they were 18. They were going to go to a nightclub. I couldn't get in. So this guy that I met said, you know what? Let's pick up some beer, and we'll drive around the back roads and we'll drink some beer. So we did. You know, minor in possession, right? So we started running around the back roads of Brazos County and drinking beer, listening to rock and roll music. I was more in the country, but he was in the rock and roll. So we're driving around and we're drinking beer, and I'm tossing the beer cans out the window and trying to hit the deer crossing signs, right? So then he says, hey, you know, you said you're a pretty good shot with a gun. I was raised on a ranch, and always around firearms back then, and said, yeah, I'm a pretty good shot. So he said, well, I got a .357 Magnum pistol underneath the seat. Uh-oh, right? So out comes the pistol, and now I'm shooting deer crossing signs and I'm shooting stop signs, right? So again, out in the country roads. So then we come pulling up to a four-way stop sign, and then there's a blinking red light, and it's blinking red. And he said, shoot the light, see if you can hit that. So I cocked that gun, and I put a bead on that light. Well, something in the back of my mind, and I can't remember if it was my dad's voice or my mom's voice saying, you know, what's the cost? What are the costs for a stop sign back then? Probably what, $10? What's the value of that blinking red light? How much damage are you going to do? And I didn't teach you to do that. And so you know what I did? I listened to that voice. I put the gun up, put it underneath the seat, said, no, I'm not going to shoot it. So again, he like friend, or he wasn't my friend at the time, but, well, he was my friend, but now I know that he wasn't. But I didn't make that choice. He starts up the truck, he drives up to the stop sign, and there was a Brazos County Sheriff deputy parked right there. What would have happened if I would have shot that red light? Do you think I'd be the sheriff today? No. Remember, you always have the choice. Listen to that voice. Because if you listen to the right choice, you'll end up doing some good things, like the judge here, like myself. Thank you all very much.
Questions before Mr. Padilla will address you on the minutes. Any last questions? Anybody? Nobody. Good. Oh, one over here. Yes, ma'am. No? All right, then. Oh.
How much do they pay you for being a judge?
I knew that was going to come. I have to answer by law because it's statutory. I get that question asked a lot. My salary by law, it's a statute that says that I have to get paid this, is $158,000 a year. And they're about to give us a raise. They haven't given, so it's going to the legislature right now to give us a raise, so I'm happy about that. And it's hard. It's not about the money. Because as a lawyer, I lost a lot of money becoming a judge. I made a lot more as a lawyer, but it wasn't about the money anymore. And that's something you're going to consider. You're going to love it. You get to college, finish, start making some money, you're going to enjoy it. It's a blast. But sometimes when you're going for something just because of the money, it may not bring you that happiness. And when I say no, I could have been there before, in trouble. It happens. It happens. Control, respect the money that you have and what you make with it, and family. I had to deal with that in my first 10 years as a lawyer. I mean, it became easy. Money was coming in. And do I miss that? I was lucky that I was able to put money away. I was lucky that I was able to pay off all my debt, that I don't have debt. And I'm very lucky that my wife works, too. So my wife helps the family income, which is good. My wife's an eye doctor, so it helps out a lot. So that's what I make a year, $158,000 a year by law. And these lawyers, you know, sky's the limit, but that's all I can make a year. Any other questions? Nobody. Alejandro's saying, no, get me out of here, Dad. I want to go home. Right? Okay. Well, I hope this helped you out. This is the real thing that happens in court every single day if we're not in trial. And it's a good experience if you look at it, say, what I don't, the sheriff said, that inner voice. If you know it's wrong, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. And remember what I said earlier. If you see that person who's walking around with their head down, or that person's being rude, that person's being obnoxious, just try to put yourself in their shoes, what they're going through at home. There's a lot of kids in here, they're worried more about where their next meal's going to come from. And you're worried about where you're going to go out to eat. Think about what they're going through, how they're going to come to school hungry, and what's going to happen. They're being abused by a parent, physically, mentally, in whatever form, or whatever it may be, or by an uncle. It's horrible. They don't get support. Hey, get your homework done. The parents don't care if they get the homework done or not. And if y'all fit any of those descriptions I just gave, keep your heads up. Don't give up. Don't give up, please. Lean on someone. Ask for help. It's that simple. Ask for help. Okay? Mr. Padilla, we want to approach?
Which one of you didn't make your beds this morning?
Alejandro.
Because you started off in a pretty bad mood.
I did.
Right, Chief Garza?
I got here a little testy a little bit, but I'm good now.
Okay. I just wanted to say thanks on behalf of the Sharyland Independent School District Board. This is not easy. This is a production. You know, you can go every day to the courthouse and everything is all set up. But a lot of people took the time to make this happen. I want to thank the District Attorney's Office, the Probation Office, the defense attorneys, who am I forgetting here? The sheriff, thank you very much for allowing your deputies to come out and support us.
My bailiff, Lucy, she protects me. That's her job, to protect me, to make sure nobody hurts me in any way. So one time there was a bomb scare at the courthouse, and she comes in, let's go. I said, where are we going? She goes, it's a bomb threat. Like, what about everybody else? She goes, my responsibility is to protect you. So she was taking me out of the courtroom. So but my other staff members who were in there saying, what about us? So I have a fierce woman protecting me right over there.
Mission Police Department, thank you very much. I think they may have left. Mr. Heath and your team, this is beautiful. Please, a round of applause for all the time they put into this. And last but not least, Mr. Culberson and his IT department at Sharyland. You guys also always do a great job. Thank you very much. So thank you very much.
All right, Alejandro, you're going home with Olivia maybe, right? All right, there you go. Okay, guys, I'm so happy y'all came here. Y'all were just really attentive. I appreciate that. And you guys have a great weekend. You're going to be going home. It's early Friday. Don't make any mistakes, please. And have a great weekend. Thank you.